Hello everybody, this is Scott. Thanks for checking out another video of mine. Today I'm going to talk about Illustrator, and I'm going to talk about using the pen tool. I'm just going to go over some basics of how to use it and how it works. If you've never used it before, if you're in Illustrator, hit P and you'll bring up the pen tool. It's also right here. Now basically if you just click, 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 and then go back to the first one, you'll close it. It's really that simple, right? That's all it is to it. No, okay, not really. Now, if you don't click, but you click and drag, you get these handlebars come out. And then you'll notice that the line is curved. Click and drag a little, let go. Click and drag a little, let go. Click and drag, let go, like that. And you'll end up with this curved line, just like that. And you can move this around, and you can go back in. You can hit A to do your direct select tool, and you can just grab one of these handles and you can move that around like so. You can grab one of these, you can grab the main points, but you can also grab the handles themselves, and you can smooth these out like so. In fact, you can hit P again, make sure caps lock's not on, and you can see it turns into a I don't know if you can see it here, it turns into a minus sign. And you click on that point and it gets rid of it. Go back to my direct selection tool and move these around. And you can see I'm just kind of smoothing it out. You got our little, generic racetrack looking thing here. But okay. Now let's take a little bit of a closer look as to what we're doing here. I'm going to click here. And I'm just going to click here again. Now I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click and drag. As you do that, you can see what it's doing. It's creating this curve, and it's leaving me with another curve. And I'm just going to click here, and then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to close it by just hitting enter and letting go. So now what you'll see here, if I click on this, I have a handle here on this side that I can move, and I have a handle here on this side. Now another thing you can do is you can hold Alt and grab just one of the handles, and you'll move only that side. Likewise, hold Alt, and I can only move that side. See how that works? Now if I want, I can go back onto this, I can hit P, I can tap that, and now I can actually move forward. Whoop, accidentally clicked and drag it. Just tap. I'm gonna go here. You can also hold Shift and you will force it into hard angles here. Whoop, Control Z of that. I'm going to click here to complete this, and I'm going to drag. I'm going to hold Shift again, so it's going to force it into an angle here that I want, and let go right there. Hit A, and since this didn't go perfectly straight like I wanted it to, I'm just going to hold this handle up, drag it, and there you go. Now let's take a look at what's making it look like this black line here. If you look at the top here, you can see I have a path which is set to white. If I set that to red, then ooh, now all of a sudden it's filled in with red. If I select this stroke here, which is the outline, this black line here, I can select another color, and then all of a sudden I have the outline of that color. Now, more so than this, we also have a stroke panel over here, which gives us more controls here, like the weight is the size of that stroke. I can thicken it. I can reduce it. Here you can decide if you want the caps of the line to be hard edge or rounded edges. Like say if I wanted to do this. See right there, it's like a hard edge. But as soon as I click this round cap button, it rounds it off. This is projecting cap, round cap, butt cap. And now here you also have this corner section here. You can round the corners and you can turn these called miter joint. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Hard edge lines here, these corners. So if I were to go back into this one here with these round corners, I can just click this button and I can change that. Also here you have dashed line and whoa. And you can actually change how long you want these dashes and the gaps in between. Like I can say the dash should be 33 points. Wait, that work? 33 points, and the gap would be 5 points, like that. So now I said that there's going to be a longer dash here and a much smaller gap. And it can even get a little weird here, like say have the second dash be 13 and another gap be 13. And you can see you can get creative with this. I don't mess with that a whole lot. I'm just going to Control Z out of this and go back to my regular line here. I'm going to select this one here and I'm going to delete it. One thing that's important to know is just to understand how the tool works, understand what these handlebars are, and for the most part, when it comes to getting fast with it, you're just going to have to get experience with it and you'll just get comfortable. A lot of people will use the pen tool in Illustrator to draw in a very intuitive way. So as opposed to just taking a brush tool and, you know, kind of trying to do this, that, and the other thing, by having this control, you can work with a stylus, you can work with a mouse, and you can get some very precise lines here. And you can see how this can become very useful trying to do illustrations in Adobe Illustrator, trying to do logo designs and that sort of thing. Now let's take a practical example here. We got this one-up mushroom here, and I'm going to make the fill color nothing, and I'm going to make the stroke color red just so that it stands out and we can see it. And I'm going to click here. And I'm going to try to trace this thing. I'm going to go here, click, and I'm going to drag. And I see what happens is it's going to give me this big curved line here. Now this isn't perfect. I'm okay with that. I'm going to fix it later. I'm going to click here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to drag a little. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to drag a little. I'm going to hold Shift to keep these handlebars going perfectly horizontal. And you see what I did? I just kind of traced that line there. Spacebar to move. And I'm just going to click here. Click here. Nope, I'm going to zoom in, delete that. And I'm going to Alt-click this line here, this point here. As soon as I do that, watch what happens to the handlebar. The foremost handlebar, not the back one, but the front one, disappeared. And in doing so, I know that when I click here, it's going to behave a little more like I expect it to. I'm going to click here, hold Shift, keep it straight. Again, it wasn't perfect, but I'm okay with that. Now I'm going to hit A to go back to my direct selection tool, and I'm going to try to clean this up here. But here's what happened. Because I started with this point here, that's actually not a great idea to start on the middle of a curved line. You typically won't want to start a drawing like this at one of the more fine points, because what happened is I didn't hold, I just tapped with the first point. So I'm going to take the pen tool again, and I'm going to hold Alt, and you see when you hold Alt, it turns it into that convert anchor point here. I think that's what it's called. You click and hold there. It's called the anchor point tool. And I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to hold Shift again. There you go. Now I'm going to go back. Whoa. It's my reference there. I don't want to click on that. In fact, I'm going to go into my reference, and I'm going to hit Control 2, and that'll lock it. So now I can only click and select on my line here. Hit the A key, click on this guy here, and I'm just going to move this around a little. Move this. Move this. Now I'm going to move this. And you can see you have a lot of control here to trace this. And there, I'm a lot happier with that. So now let's try to trace this area out too. I am going to, let's make another color here for another line. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to hold shift and click and drag. And again, I'll fix that later. Click here. Click and drag here. And I'm going to hold shift. And I'm going to click and fill that out. Now I'm not entirely satisfied. You see these things aren't perfect. I'm just going to hit A. I'm going to say, ooh, yeah, that's not great. I'm going to hit the P key, hold Alt, anchor point tool, and I'm going to see what I can do here. And it's a little funny. So I realize what happened here is I'm going to need to redo this one. And I'm going to redo this one as well while I'm at it. So then when I go over here and redo this, I have a lot more freedom. Do the same thing here. I have the pencil selected. I'm holding Alt, using the convert. I'm converting it to the anchor point tool so that when I click on this, I'm redoing the handle. And you can go back and forth as many times as you have to. And it makes a nice curved area here. And now these things aren't perfectly lining up. In the last step, we're going to overlap these and we're going to see how they look. Now here, let's use a pen tool. So let's select these eyeballs here. Let's make it a different color. Let's make it yellow. I'm going to click and drag. Click and drag. Hold shift. Click and drag. Hold shift. Click and drag. Hold shift. And click there. And I'm going to reduce the stroke here so I can see it a little bit better. And I think I just want to redo this one a bit here. Now I have this. This shape is the same thing as this one. So here's what I'm going to do. With the selection tool, hitting V, the regular selection tool, not the direct selection tool with A, but the regular selection tool with V. I'm going to hold Alt. Instead of just regularly moving this, I'm going to hold Alt and move it. As you see, there's like two little arrows there. I'm going to clone it over and move that over there. So now I have two of them. Go in here, elliptical marquee tool here, and I could just try to like do this and do this, do this, and yeah, that's definitely going to be the easiest way to do it. So don't just blindly use the pen tool for everything. But since this is a pen tool tutorial, I'm going to show you this anyway. I'm going to intentionally go outside here. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here. And see what I do here? I'm going to, whoa, zoom out. I'm going to intentionally just kind of line that up. And then just do that. Now I'm just going to select these two things. So I have both the lines selected. I have this red one here selected and this yellow one here that I just made. They're both selected. I clicked and dragged. And now I'm going to hit Pathfinder. And if you don't have it open, just go Window and look for Pathfinder. Click this one right here where it says Divide. And now you see what it did there. It just kind of took this part of it and formed it into the red line. So I'm just going to select what's left of the yellow one and I'm just going to delete here. You see here, it's actually now a part of the red shape. So I'm going to do that again. Click here. Click here. Whoop, that's maybe not the best spot. Not worried about being too perfect here, obviously. Here, let's make it a different color just in case. I get confused. Again, I'm going to select both of them here. Click this pathfinder here, divide. There you go. And I'm going to use the direct, not the regular selection tool because it's kind of stuck to it, but hit A, the direct selection tool, the second one, and click on that yellow area and delete it out. So now I'm going to click on this area here. Now that we have it like this, and I'm going to, let's go ahead and give it its color. I'm going to hit I to use the eyedropper tool. And I already have these, I already made these myself before I started recording. And I'm just going to click on this green color here. Say, whoa. Did that for me. And now here's another thing. If I click and drag, you see I still have that circle underneath it. So there's layering in Illustrator, and this is just a pen tool tutorial. I don't want to get too far into that. But if you don't know, I can just click on this green area here, and I can just move it. If you go Object, Arrange, Send Backward or Send to Back, and it will do that. You can use these hotkeys too. If you hold Control and hit the bracket keys, it will just move things forward and back. So now I have this yellow circle over top of it. Now the first thing I want to do here is I do want to use the direct selection tool, grab this section here, and if you can tell, you can move it. It's its own thing here. I can move these things out. So I want to go ahead, I want to select both of them. Direct selection tool, and I'm literally just going to hit Control X and then Control V. Now if you do that, it didn't paste it into place, it moved it a little bit, so let's Control Z that, and instead go Edit, Paste in Place. So now they're a separate object. If I click on them, they're separate. And I'm going to click on them both, and I'm going to just hit I, and I'm going to grab this other color over here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this circle, click on that, eyedropper, hit I, and I'm going to click this as well. So now we've got this guy here, we've got this guy here, this one here, this one here. Now let's click on these things. Let's click on both of these eyeballs here, put them both selected. I for eyedropper, and I'm going to click on that, and boom, got ourselves some eyeballs. And here I'm going to click on this blue one, eyedropper, and click there. And now it's starting to look like a little one-up head. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see, you don't have to do this. You can go into your layers. I already had my image under here. I knew it was locked, so I'm going to go ahead and with the reference image that I had underneath, I'm just going to click on this eyedrop or this eyeball here, and it just hides it. So now that that's gone and we have just our artwork, now I can see how this looks. And again, this head, I'm just going to this little, I guess the face part. All right, so now I'm going to select the face here. Click it, go Object, Arrange, and Send to Back, or just hit the hotkey Control Shift and the bracket key. By doing that, it puts it behind the green area here. So now I could see how there's a little bit of white space here. I'm going to click on this point here of the green, and I'm just going to move it and just eyeball it here. Whoa, make sure you get just the point. And I'm all right with that. That's a little bit off, actually, now that I see it. Should be here. I'm a little unhappy with that. So I'm going to look at these handles. Try to curve that out a little bit. Yeah, that'll help. And there you go. It's looking a lot better. Now I realize I just kind of simply took these colors here aren't the original is more of a gray white. So I'm just gonna click on all those. This color isn't correct, so I'm just gonna drag this over, click on the color picker and desaturate it. Maybe lighten it just a little and hit OK. And yeah, that's looking a lot better. So one last thing I want to do is I'm going to click this circle here and I'm just going to Alt drag it, move it down, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to hold Shift and I'm going to take this corner and drag it down, holding Shift so that it stays a circle. And move this over here. Just like that. Alt drag over. There you go. And you can even maybe try taking these things, maybe doing that, and maybe selecting that color there. Yeah, I think that's a little bit more clever. All right, so just like that, we got a little bit of a one-up mushroom here going. It's just a basic idea. I hope that this is maybe helpful for you. If you've never used a pen tool before, if you've only used it a little bit, maybe this might help clarify how some basic illustrations like this can be done. I know in future tutorials, I'll probably go over a little bit more of what Illustrator can do with the Pathfinder tool and some of the other tools that it has to use to do some of the same things. Other than that, I hope this is helpful for you. If it was, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. That would help out a small channel like mine. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.